of errands, which normally errands, like, okay, whatever, but I just needed to get out of the house. I have had such a rough couple of days. Not necessarily me, but just like life circumstances have been rough, and therefore I have been going through it. This month, guys, when I say I want January to be over, I just like need January to be over. My intention this month, if you watched my December diaries, I talked about my intentions for the month. My intention was rest, was like being more of a homebody, was resting, was recovering. I've been dealing with migraines. I went on some pretty intense medications about 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago now, to try to stop this migraine cycle that I'm in. So my body's like, it's been going through it. I've been trying to get back into my morning routines. I've been like doing the right things, resting. And this past weekend, life just really was testing both me and my husband Michael. Mostly Michael, honestly, this is was such a rough weekend for him. He has a blood disease, which is sickle cell anemia, and it's a very serious blood disease. There's no cure. There's recommendations of things you can do, but the treatment really doesn't prevent what is called a crisis. So I would say for anyone who with autoimmune disease, we understand like a flare up. So it technically is a flare up. It's just the level of pain and severity actually is a crisis. So he had a crisis a few days ago before the weekend, and he was like managing it relatively well. It can be extremely painful. Basically, his blood cells are not like a donut shape. I just think of Magic School Bus right now. They're not like a donut shape moving through your veins. His are like C's or S's. And so his can get caught and almost like a blood clot, but not technically a blood clot. It's just they don't move freely and flowing through the veins, which then means your blood oxygen levels lower. The oxygen to his muscles, to his bones from his blood doesn't really get absorbed. There's just not enough there. And the thing is, it's excruciatingly painful. It basically feels like a hammer is hitting your bones, your muscles over and over. There's no reprieve. And it's a pretty intense thing. It affects your immune system as well. So his immune system will also be extremely weak, and a lot of times he'll develop an infection while also having a sickle cell crisis. So it can go from like something manageable to being hospitalized for weeks on end. And he is very good about taking care of his health on a day-to-day basis. And this was something that kind of just came out of nowhere, and it happened relatively quickly. Thankfully, he wasn't admitted to the hospital. He did go in for a few hours. I mean, I went with him. We went into the hospital for a few hours on the weekend, but there was not much sleep for either of us. Less for him because he's in pain. And then for me, I'm obviously stressed and concerned about him and his health, his comfort, trying to help him, massaging, moving his legs because he's unable to move his legs, different things like that. So I am in need of rest, is all I can tell you. I just really wanted rest in January, and I'm just believing that January is my test, that if I can get through January with a positive attitude, then the rest of the year will be just like up from here. But I am counting down the days until February. I am just like, okay, January, you did your thing. We're good. We're on to the next now. So I decided to do my errands this morning after, I didn't get to do anything on the weekend. I literally was just doing laundry and somewhat cooking to make sure he was eating properly, that I was trying to eat properly. And I did not get to do anything that I had planned or needed to do. So I decided, I'm going to take the morning and actually go do errands, romanticize the simplicity of each day and like the little things that I can easily take for granted, especially after a weekend like the one we had. And it's not really fun errands, but it's just things that need to get done, and getting out of the house after also being stuck at home feels really lovely. And I'm just trying to, again, have that positive mindset, believe in the best for myself. Michael is recovering. He is at home with his legs up, resting and trying to work because he also has a lot of things on his plate and can't necessarily just take time off this week. So I'm doing what I can to support him. I'm going to be on domestic duty, as I like to say. All the cooking, cleaning, laundry, 100%. I mean, I'm not doing those things. Usually we share those, but this week, just to make sure that his workload is lighter and his stress levels are lower, I'll be taking care of all that. So I'm just trying to plan out what we need this week to make sure it's a good week. And for me right now, it's getting out of the house, doing these errands, and trying to enjoy the small things in life. because that's what we really can. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, even if we have plans. Things can happen and they go sideways. So I'm just trying to be grateful for today. And the sun is out, even though I'm wearing this jacket. It's starting to warm up. So again, good things are coming. Manifesting, believing the rest of this year is going to bring like so much goodness. Also stopped to get some candles today because I just need a home candle. I have not got a new candle in so long, and I also got some incense. This is one I've never had before, but I'm excited to try it. It smells so good, and supposedly it lasts a long time. I think it lasts 45 minutes, which is so much longer than most incense. The store that I went to is called PF Candle. They are truly the best candles. I was looking at candles at Target. I obviously did not buy any because they're not made with the best quality. I'm really trying to do soy only, or I guess organic candles, which cost more. And when you are constantly wanting to have a candle or incense, it's hard to rationalize that. So I don't know where everyone else is getting their good candles, but I've just done so much research on candles and like the scents in them and how it can actually be bad for a woman's hormones, which we're trying to avoid. So I did pick up 2 new candles from PF Candle. These are, one of them we've had before. Michael is a big incense fan, so I feel like this is also good for him this week to have a bit more of a relaxing ambiance to the home as he's recovering. But this one is an amber and moss, which I don't even know how to explain the smell, but it just smells so good. And then the other one is a LA candle. It's literally just called Los Angeles. I think it's their new custom one for the year. They usually try to do different ones, but this one just smells like it's a bit more spring-like and not as deep as the amber and moss. Let's see what Michael wants. Which one do you want to start? The candle. Do you want to smell them and see which one you want lit?
I mean, the amber moss, I think I've gotten that before, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think this is the amber moss. We actually have this spray for our bed sheets.
Nice.
Do you have a preference which you would like in the atmosphere?
Right now?
Currently. Right now. I'm going to light one right now.
Let's try the new one and see what's...
We're going to do Los Angeles. Trying something new. And then I also finally bought little, I don't know, what are these called? Wick cutters. Is that correct? To cut the wick, because I've been trying to use like scissors myself, and then I just end up getting my hands covered in like soot and wax. So finally bought those, got the incense sticks, got some candles. This is going to reset the energy and just give us that relaxation that we need, which we need it. And I'm very excited to like light a candle, read my book. Guys, I finally caved and I started reading Fourth Wing. It's not that I wasn't going to, it's just I was deep in the Throne of Glass for so long. I was so deep in Throne of Glass for literally most of last year, and I finally finished it, as you know, and I was able to dive into Fourth Wing. I finished Fourth Wing in 4 days, like truly so quick. And now I am on, what's it called? Iron Flame. So I'm on book number 2. This was one, I guess, upside of this weekend is I was able to read a lot while Michael and I were just navigating everything going on. So he was sometimes watching movies, I was reading. So I got to get some more pages in, and I finally signed up for Fable, which is sort of like the newer, I guess, Goodreads. It's obviously not the same as Goodreads. I think the user interface is just so much better. And it shows you like how many days you're reading and what you're reading. You can follow book clubs and different things. It just feels like what Goodreads should have done, but they just never updated. So I'm now on Fable, which you can find me on Fable, Mary Ofori-Attah, if you're a book girly and you're there. But I am so in love with Iron Flame. Fourth Wing was so good, I devoured it. Like the writing style, her writing is just so easy to read. For anyone who's not into fantasy, I swear this is probably like one of the better easy intros to fantasy. Definitely easier than Actar or way easier than Throne of Glass. Glass Throne. I always like have the wrong, I never remember the title, but that one, you know. So definitely gonna read some of this. The candle has been lit. We are setting the mood. We are creating a relaxing atmosphere and just trying to enjoy the last few days of January because we are ready. We are ready for February. And I was just saying this to Michael that Chinese New Year is, I think, in like a day from now. So I'm using that as my reset. I'm like, Chinese New Year is my new year. I'm going to confirm that that is the day 2025 starts and all new energy is starting from there. And it's only up from there. So reading a book right now, probably going to do some other home things later, laundry, cooking, you know, the good stuff. But for this moment, just enjoying the vibes of a candlelight reading session. Dinner is served. As you saw, I have to make 2 soups. It's still really hot. Michael hasn't had his yet. Mine is, I don't know if you can tell, but it's actually like steaming still. But yeah, I have to make 2 just because of being on AIP still and specifically finding out that I cannot have onions. So I normally would do a lentil soup just the same as Michael with tomato, onion, carrot, celery, and then red lentils. But since being on AIP, I cannot do lentils, and then I cannot do tomatoes, and then personally, I cannot do the onions. So mine is a different version. It's carrots, celery, and I add bacon because it adds a little more flavor, a little protein. It also gives it a bit more salt, which I like. And then I add turmeric to both just because turmeric is really good for inflammation. And Michael is still dealing with inflammation, so I hope this helps him. And now I get to try the soup and see how it is. Adding the bacon is kind of like the secret. If you've ever had minestrone soup, This is similar to minestrone soup. That's something I used to make all the time growing up. Honestly, I don't remember the last time that I made it. Probably because there's pasta in it. I'm sure I could find a way to do it gluten-free / kind of AIP, but there's also beans in it, so this will be my version of minestrone soup. But the bacon just adds that extra little flavor. I think it's very delicious. Like I said, it adds that salt, but it's an easy 2 different pot meal for us. Like it's not as much work as some other nights where we have to make like almost 2 completely different meals. So this feels less of like work in the kitchen, which I'm not the best cook. I would say Michael is usually the better cook of the 2 of us. And by usually, I mean like 95% of the time. He's just more brave in the kitchen when it comes to trying things and paying attention. I think my attention span is all over the place when I'm in the kitchen and I'm not able to focus as much. So I'm very proud when I make a good meal. And I hope when it cools off, he actually gets to enjoy it. Because when it's too hot, it's just not enjoyable. But mine is not as hot as his, maybe because it doesn't have lentils. And then another thing that I like to do is instead of using water is I use chicken broth or like chicken stock. So then the liquid also has more flavor, which I'm here for the flavor. And now we're going to watch either 90 Day Fiancé. We got into it again after years of not really watching it. We watched it a lot like years ago with his mom and we got sucked into the 90 Day Fiancé franchise. And then I think we saw something on Instagram recently. There was a Ghanaian girl who was on 90 Day Fiancé the other way because they have so many different types of this show. There's like 5 different versions of 90 Day Fiancé. And so we were watching that one and I think it's the Tell All that's live. It's either the Tell All or it's 90 Day, the last resort where couples go to a resort to work on their relationship. We've been sucked in. We do enjoy it. So we'll probably put that on while we eat and continue the cozy vibes. I do have some work to do after dinner just because it's a busy week and I didn't get to do anything over the weekend. So I'm going to work on my computer, which is haunting me over my shoulder. I'll just do work on the couch while we watch 90 Day Fiancé and hopefully call it an early evening and relax and have a good sleep. I'm feeling a little bit better today. I think having just a normal sleep is actually life-changing. So honestly, I have not been sleeping well since Michael has been sick, which I think anyone, like who your partner or if you have a child, anyone who's not well in the household, it makes you not able to rest. At least that's how I feel. So I finally did have a pretty good sleep. We are both still getting up like really early unintentionally. And I just really needed to clean the house. Also, my hair is so frizzy. Even though I washed it and I dried it relatively well, it's just not the same as what my hairdresser can do. I'm like, Tash, teach me how to do this at home. Anyways, so yeah, the weekend being a bit of a write-off, I did not have a chance to clean. And I literally was looking in the corners of our home and the amount of dust. I was like, okay, no, this needs to be taken care of. So between that, putting in laundry, I feel like I've had like a pretty productive morning. I might do like a workout Pilates like YouTube video or just stretching. I put on workout wear. So this is like The hack is if you put on like a cute set, obviously it makes you feel better, but also putting on a little workout wear will make me think, okay, at some point I should probably move my body. Because you know how I said I was really tight after the fires and I went to Pilates and I was like, oh my gosh, I just couldn't stretch. Let me tell you how insanely tight my body is after not sleeping and spending hours in the hospital with Michael. My body is literally like an elastic band ball. So even if I just do some floor stretches, I will be very happy with being able to loosen the stress out of my body, release some of that stress and tension, because it is happening in there. I am going to go pick up some lunch for Michael. He is working this week, so the thing about him and his job is he can't really take time off. Like I know a lot of us can't take time off depending on our work, but he is a video editor. And so it's like someone hiring him specifically for his skill set. He's not really interchangeable. It would be like hiring a musician. Like you hired that specific musician for their taste, their style, or even like an artist, like a painter, that is their style and like you can't replicate that. So it's the same thing with Michael being an editor. There is a skill set and a different style that every editor has. And so he's had to jump on some calls, and I just want to make sure that he is feeling his best, which is hard when you're physically not feeling well. So I want to get him a very healthy lunch. I've been organizing groceries and like cooking dinner, but I had no leftovers today based on our dinner from the other night. We both finished that soup. So we need lunch, and I want to get him something very yummy and ideally something that like just gives him the energy he needs. He shouldn't be working like on calls all day, and I'm in between a variety of different things because I do surprise a variety of different things. So I have the ability to go out and do this, and that's one thing that I like to prioritize when he is not feeling well is I take over the domestic duties, as I mentioned. So I'm doing that. And I just want to put a little bit of something on my face. I might have to put some gel. Like this just kills me. Does anyone know how to slick it? Like I don't want it to be so greased back or like slicked back, but I do want the frizz to be handled. If you have something that you recommend for like frizz stuff, please let me know. So I'm gonna get him lunch. I might grab myself a matcha while I'm out, a couple different groceries that, of course, I forgot the other day when I was out. I just feel like it's so hard to remember every single thing you need. And then because we're both at home, like we both have been kind of on like, I like to say we've been on house arrest. We have not been on house arrest, but we just literally are on like staying at home orders because of his health and just making sure that he's not pushing himself. So I'm really just wanting to make sure he feels good. I'm here to make sure that he's taken care of. And I also want to stay at home and read. I'm a homebody, so I'm not mad about it. But I'm going to get a couple of those things, and then I'm going to spend some time later today, which I'm already so excited for, doing my January, not intentions. No, I finished my January intentions. My January like recap of how everything went based on my intentions, and then start doing intentions for February and create a new little mood board, little vision board for February. Because if you missed my December diaries vlog, I talked about how I'm not doing full year intentions. I am just doing monthly. And based on how January went, I'm so glad, because I would have already felt like I'm behind and this month did not go well. So I'm trying to break things down month by month. I have a few different things coming up in February that I know I'm excited for that I can like highlight in my intentions and my plans. And then I'm going to do the recap of January and be very kind to myself because it was not the best month. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Feels, I mean, let's put some oil in there. while I was out. I just did the errands and focused on the task at hand. I was actually on the phone with my mom, so I'm gonna blame her for being distracted. But I just got home to a new package from Moon Juice. I have been needing some new things from them, so I just ordered some of the things that I've been using for a while. I think I've shown you I used their collagen. So this is the collagen that I usually put in my yogurt to add a little bit extra oomph to it. You can also put in your coffee. I just never find that like the texture ends up the way I want it to, but maybe I just need to like whisk it up better or something. So I ordered that, and then I also got some of their different like water beverages. So there is the energy one, hydration and sleep. So it's the Ting, the Mini Dew, and the magnesium. I've had the magnesium one for years. I've used it on and off, but I just wanted to have a couple like small ones that I could take on the go. But I also haven't tried the Mini Dew before, which is basically like electrolytes. The Ting is like an afternoon energy drink, which I think I'm gonna actually do that right now because I am getting ready, getting myself organized to do my January, not recap. There is a word. Why can't I remember what the word is? Is it January review that I want to do? Reflections. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I want to do my January reflections. I did all my intentions for January back at the end of December. It is the end of January now, so I want to do my reflections based on those intentions and sort of just like being able to recap the month. What happened outside of like the major things that we know that happened. And then I'm also going to do my intentions for February. Some of them are going to be the same as January, but I'm going to put in some new ones just based on what I know is like either happening in my life or like seasonality. So I'll make sure that I include those because I know a bunch of you enjoyed the intentions from January. So I'll make sure that I include those either in the description, or if you subscribe, you can go to the community page and I'll put them in there as like a little post so you can download and save those yourself. But let's start with the drink. I just feel like I need a drink, and this way I think I should be able to have it with my trays in. That's the really annoying thing about Invisalign. I can't have like a tea or anything when I have my trays in, and I just put new trays in this today and they're already killing me. So I don't want to take them out because every time I put them back in, they hurt even more. So let's try maybe the Ting. Let's see. Yeah, let's try a little Ting. And you know what? Maybe I'll mix it with some sparkling water and put in some fruit or berries if I have any, just to give it a little extra flavor. Let's see what we can do. Answering a bunch of my questions, and I went to print out my February like mood, and this is what my printer did. I am not in the mood to be doing IT support for myself because that looks like more than just like an ink problem. That looks like the printer head is broken. So I'm just gonna recenter on what matters. I'm going to light a candle. So if you haven't done any intentions journaling, this is the best way, in my opinion, just like make it feel extra special. So I'm lighting a candle. I've been drinking my moon juice ting. Almost done. I did have to take my trays out because I'm not about to tint my trays literally like orange yellow and then walk around with those in forever. So, But it is yummy. I feel like I kind of have a bit more energy. I'm going to drop below, I think I mentioned this, I'm going to drop below the reflections from January along with some of the intentions from February and create little like icons or little images that you guys can use and download if you are also joining me on this like monthly intention journey for 2025. But I think having the candle and just being a little bit more, dare I say, intentional with this time of like checking in feels really good. It got dark so fast and I realized it is time to make dinner. And let me tell you, being that domestic wife is work. But no, I have things planned. I just need to make sure that the chicken is thawed. So I'm going to start dinner shortly, but I want to finish writing out the rest of my questions for February. And then I have one more question to answer for my reflections from January, and I'm kind of stuck on it. How did I make progress towards my goals, big or small? So any goals, how did I make progress this month? And it's a bit tricky because I feel like I was in survival mode most of January, between waking up sick on January 3rd, being sick, into the fires, life in general with that, Michael's crisis, his sickle cell crisis, and then just trying to work, survive, all of those things. Also, yeah, like my migraines, on some pretty crazy medication for my migraine. So I really feel like I was in survival mode and not really working towards my goals. I know one of my goals was to get back running. I think I went for 3 runs this month. Again, I'm going to blame the air quality, my lung quality because of my cold. So I feel like this month, I didn't really make any progress towards big or small goals, but I did talk about resting a lot in this, in January, and like trying to take it easy because the end of 2024 was just a lot. So I do think that that is something. Maybe I just have to talk this out. Sometimes I just have to talk things out to arrive at where my mind is going. But I do think that would be something, is I've been able to rest more, like forced rest, especially with Michael on recovery. We both have been resting and just sort of like at home, and that is the plan. Some of my February intentions, just like off the top, are, because it's Valentine's Day, a little bit more focus on like a date night with Michael. Both he and I have talked about just being more intentional with our dates. And so I'm going to take the reins and plan a date this month. So that is one thing, is making our relationship outside of like day-to-day life, but just like relationship and dating back how we used to go on dates when we first met years ago, making that a priority again. So that is one intention for the month. I think getting back to running again, because January didn't really have a lot of that. So running more this month is going to be an intention. And then I'm actually going to New Orleans at the end of February with some friends. And that is something I'm really looking forward to, is just being more present and just like building relationships and bonds with people that I already have the relationships with them, but just investing into relationships that serve me and that I feel valued in, which I think is so important when it comes to friendships, any type of relationship. So I'll finish these questions and put them below for all of you, just to hear about how you are doing. If there was one thing, I would love to know what one goal is that you work towards this month. Or if you made it this far in the video, just drop a little envelope with a heart emoji in honor of February. I know this is like a January intentions video or January diary video, but drop that little emoji so I know that you made it all the way to the end. And we can chat about our February intentions next month and all the good things that are going to come. I will keep you updated on all those goals. A little bit more of that I'm going to talk through in the next vlog. And I will see all of you guys on the next one. Bye.